Better Booty Month 3, Day 6. In Day 6, I have 5 exercises that I will be performing for 3 sets for a total number of reps of 60 banded seated hip abductions with sliders, 60 kneeling banded straight leg kickbacks, 60 knee banded standing hip abductions, 60 body weight 45-degree hypers, and 24 enhanced eccentric dumbbell single leg hip thrusts, ending with yoga. That's Day 6. Banded seated hip abduction with sliders. I have shown this exercise before, but it's in today's as well. And this is a great exercise if you don't have an actual abduction machine at your fingertips. So you just use sliders. I have these gliding discs, but you could also use paper plates or just your socks on a hard surface. So you're going to place your heels on your gliding discs or paper plates or whatever it is that you're using, and your band's going to be just above your knees, and you're going to abduct your hips by pushing out on the band and sliding your feet out as far as you can make that band go, and then slide back in. Again, sit upright, nice tight core, slide out, slide in. Again, it's a great one if you don't have the actual machine to do the exercise. Kneeling banded straight leg kickbacks. I'm going to actually put my hair up for this one. This one's actually performed on your knees, so you might need a pad underneath you if you have sensitive knees. And for this, you're going to use a light band. You don't want to go too heavy of a resistance on your band because you want a nice fluid motion. And you're going to take your band, and you can either just place it under your foot, like right at the center, or you can wrap it around so you know it's not going to slip off on you. You're going to hook your thumbs into the band, get yourself on all fours, and then you just perform your straight leg kickback like you would without a band. So kicking your foot up and back behind you, nice and straight, come back down. Try not to dip. You want to stay fairly upright and don't hyperextend your back. So your back is in a fairly neutral position as you complete the exercise. So you do all one leg and then the other. Knee banded standing hip abduction. For this, you can have your band just above your knees or just below your knees. Don't put it on your knees, but either below or above. I tend to keep mine above. You are going to need a stationary object to hold on to, whether that's a weight stack or a wall or even a plyo box. Whatever you have available to you, you're going to hold on to that steady object. You're going to put all of your weight on the inside leg, lifting your other leg or your foot up off the floor. Internally rotate your foot, and you're going to abduct your hip as far as that band will actually go, so your full range of motion, and then come back in. You want to make sure you're not dipping or tilting your body to get your leg up. You do want to keep this hip stationary as you abduct that leg and bring it back in. And you can probably even play with the rotation of your foot, having it straight compared to internally rotate. It will likely feel slightly different. And you may have a further range of motion with your foot straight than you do with it turned internally. So you can kind of play around with that a little bit, see what works best for you. Body weight 45-degree hypers. For this, I'm using a hyper extension bench. If you don't have one of these, but you have a bench that actually moves up and down, so a decline, incline bench, you can use that as well. I used to use that. If you have a squat rack, You can use the bars on the squat rack to do this as well. This is just the best option to have, is an actual bench. So you want your upper pad to be as high up on your thighs without interfering with your hip flexion. You're going to have your feet externally rotated to activate the glutes the most. Again, you might have to play around with your placement to get just the right setup for yourself. Again, you want to be able to extend your hips. You don't want it to be like where you're like, ugh, your stomach. So you want to be as high up on your thighs as you can without interfering with that flexion. Again, toes pointed out. For this, you're going to stay in a curved back position, so you're not going to come up with a flat back. So you're going to stay rounded the whole time, and as you come up, you want to push your hips into the pad and squeeze your booty maximally as tight as you can, and like hold for a second at your top. You'll notice when I do this, I'm not actually going to have a whole lot of movement. I'm not coming way back here. It's just going to be up where the glutes are nice and tight, back stays rounded for that whole time. Again, squeezing those glutes at the top. And you can do this same exercise with a dumbbell and with a band. Enhanced eccentric dumbbell single leg hip thrusts. For this, all the same cues for your hip thrusts apply to this one as well. You're going to have your bottom of your shoulder blades on your bench. Your bench ideally can be anywhere from 12 to 16 inches high, depending on your particular torso and body shape. So somewhere in that range, 12 to 16 inches works best. For this, you're going to be starting in a B stance. So standard hip thrust, your shins are perpendicular with the floor. For a B stance, well, first of all, you want to put your dumbbell where you're going to place it. So on your hip flexor, you want to hold your dumbbell with that leg, come to your full extension in your standard hip thrust, and then you're going to bring one of your legs and straighten it out so that the heel is just about even with your toes of the other foot. So you're in this position as a B stance. The majority of my weight, like 70% of the weight, is on this outside leg that's holding the dumbbell. The other 30% really is just kind of keeping me steady so that I don't tip or dip my hips. And then from here, you're going to bring that leg up. So the concentric movement is your standard looking single leg hip thrust. And then you're going to slowly bring that leg down. As you're doing that, you want to move from the sternum down. So you're not swinging so much as dropping. So your chest stays pretty upright. And bring your foot back down into that B stance and perform the movement again. Again, pushing with the heel of the other leg, bringing your leg up, slowly coming down. Again, keeping that chest up, chin is tucked, down into that B stance, and repeat the motion. So you're doing 8 reps on one leg, take a little rest, do your next 8, take a little rest, do your next 8, and then switch legs.